Hey dudes, welcome back to another episode of our Rhomas Men's Team podcast. You are about to listen to one of our prior team meetings. If you ever want to join one of our live sessions that we have every Monday and Friday, head over to rhomas.com. That's RHOMAS.com and put your email in and we will send you a live link every time we record. We generally record on Mondays and Fridays. So if you ever want to be on the actual podcast, like we bring men up all the time to talk about their goals, talk about their obstacles, etc., head over to rhomas.com. And then also, if you want to help support the channel grow and also have access to exclusive content, book reviews, extra whiteboard sessions, etc., and some coaching sessions, head over to patreon.com and support us. We would love it. But if not, no biggie. We'll see you on the live sessions. Later, dudes. Enjoy this podcast.
We're here. We're back. It's Monday. I'm excited.
Back in action.
I'm genuinely excited. It's kind of nice, man. Every Monday, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. This pumps me up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because like so I do this Monday, and then Tuesday I have a podcast. So it's like, you know, I got some stuff done today, but like real days to get stuff done are like, dude, Wednesday and Thursday I have my day is kind of like a blank slate, and I can like really hit it hard. But dude, even like on these days where I'm like, I have like, you know, technically half days to work, if that, you know, give it a quarter day between like everything else. Dude, woke up this morning, 6 a.m., just knock stuff off. So I do think the early morning, I might have to just be a 6 a.m. riser just every day.
I really wish you didn't say that. Yeah, I really wish you didn't say that, man.
I think I got to be a 6 a.m. riser because it's like, dude, none of my distractions are present. At 6 a.m., no one wants to get up and distract me at all. So it's like, you know, and again, it's what I have to do. It was the solution. And it's funny too, because I could start blaming like, oh man, there's not enough time. It's like, nope, I get up early and it's like, I can always if I get up at 6 a.m., I can get my writing done to the point where that's like a big thing that throws me off. If I don't get my writing done, I'm like, God damn it. If I wake up at 6 a.m., so like, it really is on me. You know, I did it today. Did not want to get up, dude. Did not want to get up. The excuses when you're like laden with like that, like, oh, I only got like 7 hours, not 8, you know. Oh, but I won't be a peak performer. And dude, it's like, just get up. And I made myself get up, and it was like, oh, so happy I did.
I think back in college, you actually changed my entire mindset around this. You used to meet me before we go to either the gym or we go to the dining hall, and used to knock on the door and you used to say like, you know, whatever sleep you're going to get extra here is just pennies. You know, it's like when you try to like roll over and you know, 5 minutes here, a little 2-minute snooze there. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a 10-minute snooze, and it was just like, damn it. I was happy I got out of bed, so I wasn't killing myself. But yeah, same thing. It's like that did nothing for me, dude.
What time did you get to bed last night?
Right around, I was in bed at 10:30, and then I started listening to an audiobook and kind of drifted off around like 11. So I probably fell asleep around 11. So I got like a solid 7, 6.5. But it's one of those things now where I'm going to start punishing myself into, you know, an earlier sleep time, if that makes sense. Like the goal is 6 a.m. So I'm going to start, if I don't, basically I'm going to start letting my alarm clock dictate. And if I am sluggish, it's like I'll make it up that night and get some sleep. Or if I can catch a nap, I'll catch it. But you know, I'm gonna try to start programming myself to be like 6 a.m. That's like a whole other habit too that I'm gonna try to put in everything.
Yeah, you're still right about 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Somebody said, I think Ray said in the comments that 6 a.m. is kind of the golden wake up time. Yeah.
5's a little punitive. 5, you know, again, if you can get up at 5, take it. 4:30 is like, dude, stop. But
I did the 4:30 on the weekend. I did 4:45.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it's just, I don't think, but I don't think it's optimal.
I mean, I don't, like, again, if you wake up, there was a guy, Jocko Willenick, who does the thing where he wakes up at 4:30 every morning. And it's like, dude, if you can do it and pull it off, yeah, it kind of throws me for a loop. Like I kill it all morning, but by 12, I'm just devastated. So it's like 6 a.m. I can function all day. And again, it'll start, it'll start to make me go to bed a little early. My bedtime's been creeping out a little bit, so I'm trying to get that back. Yeah, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, Ray said stop bragging. No, I don't think 4:45 is good. I just don't think. I think 6 a.m. is spot on. I really do. I think it's a great it's a great way of getting a few hours cranked out ahead of time. But at the same time, it's not absurd, and it's probably in line with circadian rhythm, I assume. Because when does the sun start to rise? Like around 6 a.m. ish,
Right around there. Yeah. I mean, in the wintertime, it'll kind of move around a little bit, but yeah, 6 a.m. It's like it's just dark enough. I know it'll start getting a little darker, but yeah, it's for me, it's like the perfect time. 6 a.m. It's like early enough. It's an early day. 7's kind of like, all right, I'm up at 7. I'm basically punching in. 6 is the like I started my day with a humongous win, basically a show of willpower. My day started with a tremendous show of willpower. Because, dude, I did not want to get up. I did not want to wake up and move.
No.
Oh no.
Well, especially in Philly now, man, you're getting that little crispy.
Yeah,
crispy in the morning. That's tough. Out here in California, it's making me soft because you wake up, it's like super bright and sunny, and I think today it's going to be a high of 85.
Yeah, we're down in like this. Yeah, we're getting a little chilly down here, which I welcome. I think it's nice. But yeah, dude. So that was one, and it was nice. The nicest thing too is to sit, like you said before. It's like I got like the top 3 things. My morning stuff was done before I even started this, rather than me trying to play catch up afterwards. So
right,
might be the daily thing. But either way, like I said, I'm not going to drone on about getting up at 6 for 10 more minutes.
So how the weekend go, bro? How the scorecard finish out? How all that stuff go?
The scorecard, oh boy! So Saturday, we had Rainey was going to come, but I think his family so they were a little sick. So we had Butterly and my friend said the kid, and their kids came over. So we did a little potluck on Saturday. So dude, nice, I pigged hard.
Yeah, but dude, that's what it's for, right? Like,
bro,
you should enjoy those moments. That's what nutrition planning and everything is for, so that you can kind of go all out when you want to.
Yeah, no, and then I did, and it was fantastic. So it was like right now I have a ton of leftovers. So I'm trying to do away with them, and also kind of increase the activity levels. But dude, yeah, it was awesome. Long story short, the weekend was awesome. We had a little potluck. Yesterday, I actually fully chilled, which I did. I went for a run. That was the only thing. Which
hell yeah, man.
Consider that chilling. I went for a run. Just did just stuff like that, like family stuff, exercise stuff. Dude, it was awesome. So yeah, the weekend was just a 2-day chill sesh for the most part.
Awesome. Well, and then how do you treat because Sunday, how do you treat that as? Do you just do what you want, or do you force yourself to relax? Like, what does that look like for you?
I try to. So I got a balance, kind of what's the plan in terms of family time, and then does everybody within that get to do their own thing for a little bit? So that way we're kind of hanging out, but also we're not just chained together under this idea of we must spend every waking second. So really, it's I kind of woke up. I do Church of Dogology on Sunday, so that's kind of the mornings, kind of more to my liking in terms of I'm gonna go. I usually am hey, I'm gonna go for a run, do this. So really, I just try to mix it with stuff that I really, really feel like doing for myself personally, earlier. And then it's once I get that out of the way, now I can fully be present and, do just the family thing, and then give Britt some time if she wants to go do something for herself. Right. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole time of just do something for myself in terms of if I want to exercise, do that. If I want to kind of meditate for longer, I'll do that. Last Sunday, I just meditated for an hour. So it's I'll do stuff. Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Hour's legit, man. I've never done an hour. Max I've ever done is 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Especially if you lay down and have a certain playlist. But that's Sunday, it's just whatever kind of is tickling my fancy. I'll kind of do that for a little bit, do Church of Dogology, and after that, I'm kind of just family business all day. How do you do
now? What's that?
What do you do?
Dude, honestly, this sounds super weird. My therapy, my therapeutic kind of habits on Sunday is I like cleaning and listening to audiobooks or listening to presentations. I don't know what it is. And going to the gym, going to the gym for a long time. And then I just like getting the little stuff done that I can kind of put my brain on autopilot without thinking through anything, and then just absorbing some information. So right now I listen to the audiobook called Relentless. This is by the trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade and a whole bunch of other NBA All-Stars. And I love the book. It's kind of super primal, not very scientific at all, but just gets in mindset. And I love it. So I try to put that on my list every year to listen to, and it helps me recalibrate. Because one of the things that I think obviously you and I really like reading about studies, et cetera. But one of the issues with studies is that kind of when you take a study, you're trying to take a sort of like an appropriate sample size, and usually that sample is representative of a general population, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Versus oftentimes what I'm interested in is what are the unicorns doing, if that makes sense. Like what are the unicorns' mindsets, not just what's the general public's mindset. Ryan's saying the outliers, definitely. So this book is kind of that, because this guy has trained at least a handful of these just mega superstars in the NBA, and saying exactly what it takes there. And I thought it was just phenomenal. It's like just like really
cool. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it is interesting how people are always trying to fit into the idea of I think that what they call the norm in statistics, and how that wasn't even a concept before statistical math. There was no idea. There was no such thing as the norm or the average back then. People just kind of kicked around, where you're either just a piece of shit or you were excellent. People he's a fucking piece of shit peasant, or he's excellent. That was it. There was no just regular. Wasn't an option before statistical math, which is pretty interesting.
Dude, I love stat. I know that you've had your beef with stat in the past.
It's useful. It's totally useful, dude. It is useful. But yeah, man, I just have I have my qualms. I would try to have theoretical arguments with my teacher when I went back to school the last time about stat, and it was just it's great. I think it's really cool. It can just be manipulated so easy and make you mislead people, because it's if you don't understand how it works, you can be tricked by it so fucking easily. And it's they can show statistical significance, but then say it's totally different than clinical significance, and it's well, does this actually work? It's well, no, it's statistically significant. How's it work for people? Sorry. So yeah, I think it is good. I think it's good to keep track of stuff, for sure. I think it's great. It's just it gets so complicated that it's it was I was reading a book, and they're talking about how before the subprime, this is kind of a separate thing, but sometimes things can get so complicated that they just stop making sense. Before the subprime mortgage crash, there were certain banks that were bringing in astrophysicists to try to comprehend these products they were selling.
Yeah.
They just were yeah, dude. They were I guess, and then just unsurprisingly all fell apart. So it's there really is something to be said for just fundamental, in your face, what are you seeing, sensing, hearing, and thinking and feeling, and not getting too attached to that. But again, it's everything always kind of just hits this level of paradox where it's this is good and bad, and this is good and bad, and so I try not to get too swayed on either side.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with, let's just say with math in general, is that yes, you can start to go down a certain level of rabbit hole that takes you out of the realm of pragmatism, whether or not it's practically applicable. But in terms of, for me, my two favorite classes in college were critical thinking and debate, or I think it was like called Logic 101, but it was critical thinking and debating. And then the second one was stat. But only let's say 20% of the stat class, because teaching me how to analyze things from a probabilistic standpoint. So, assessing probability, and then contingent alignment of different things, really helped me understand and make decisions off of that. So I think oftentimes I use it in decision making. So for instance, being able to assess a situation, saying, okay, I'm about to make this decision. By my best estimate, it's a 40% chance of success. But then when I know that and just thinking through that vein, it helps me. Or, hey, it's a 60% chance of success. And then knowing if the outcome doesn't come out on my side, my brain is able to say, well, I still made the right decision because the odds were in my favor. I just had a 40% chance of not landing in the successful result. But I think oftentimes if we don't think like that, or if I don't think like that, then we will automatically say we made the bad decision or the wrong decision. It's no, just no decision's 100%. So, and the reason that's practical is because then next time I would make the same decision if it was on the right side of probability. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. No, it does. That does make sense. It's just hard to for me. It's hard to calculate how would I know what the probability of anything is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where it's a certain level of subjectivity. But I think for me, at least going through that process allows me to bring, I think, a little more accuracy to that subjectivity. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, again, it is nice. It definitely, again, when people are like, oh, it's all bullshit. It's no, it's not all bullshit. It's very kind of like an advanced way of thinking that's pretty helpful. But yeah, like I said, it's just good to kind of like use those all as tools in a tool belt and not like start
Yep.
worshiping. So that's kind of, because I would swing back and forth between extremes all the time. Like, it's all bullshit. It sucks. Well, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking useful. It's pretty good to be able to figure stuff out. Or like you were saying, paint like I mean, dude, just what the tech companies are doing with like being able to predict behavior even within like, 2 degrees of more certainty. It's like, yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy, man. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, I also do. I do like the idea of just grabbing the unicorns and trying to look at them, because it is good to kind of juxtapose what you're up to against those kind of figures. Because it's like sometimes that's the only access you'll have, which is, a book, versus like, you kind of fall into the norm and like, well, this is what everyone else is doing. And it's like, well, again, I would love I don't know if they could get a statistic on this, but like life satisfaction from my, like, just being around people and being at jobs and doing stuff, I would say is like, you take 10 people in any given setting who's like super pumped on their setup and their life and what they're doing. I think it's like 2 out of 10. That's been my finding in terms of like interacting with people. Might even be honestly less than that.
Hold on. Sorry. I want to make sure I'm following. Can you repeat that?
So in terms of people who are like pumped on like what they're doing, what they're up to, who feel kind of like fulfilled on some level, just like, not like everything's not perfect, but like they're like, I feel like I'm on a track towards a thing that I like and I'm intrinsically motivated to be towards. I would say it's like 2 out of 10 people being generous, honestly.
Oh, that's definitely
that I've encountered. If you go into a it's true. I mean, it is sad. It's a very sad, realistic stat, but it's also, but the thing I found, it's like defended. It's like, that's what I would come up against in work settings. It's like there's this kind of like not disheveled, but like I'm usually pretty disheveled in the work setting, but they're usually like kind of miserable in a way, just kind of like they accept it's miserable. Like, all there is kind of like, oh, whatever. All you can do is go through the motions. And if you kind of push back against that in these settings, it's kind of met with like a stop, don't fucking disturb my little kind of like malaise box of just being like, eh. It's like, dude, it's just everywhere. It's since I was young, I was always like, dude, I don't want to be miserable. That's all I really care about. I don't want to be miserable and don't want to give into that fatalistic, like, just how it is. You get older, you put on extra weight. It's impossible to make money. It's just how it is. And it's like, I guess, man.
Well, dude, the funny thing is, so when I moved out to California, that whole age thing is a real ceiling to a lot of people's mentality. But the cool thing about living out here in California is there's a lot of mind shifts that happen just because the age thing almost goes away. I mean, there's people who are like 75 years old out here doing things that I thought only like 20-year-olds do back east. Does that make sense? Like, little things, like just going out and having fun. Going out dancing, going to all these different things. I grew up in a space, and I think you did too, where it's, I mean, could you imagine your dad going out to the dance studio and dancing?
No. I saw him play tackle football hammered at a family party one time when I was like 9. It was just like the most terrifying. I was like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. He's definitely gonna die.
Yeah, but why is that? Right? That's crazy. So that age thing is definitely a real concept and a real barrier to a lot of people's lives. But just imagine if you elongated the game, like actually thinking, because there's a certain mindset that says, oh, you have a short period of time on this little blue dot, that sort of thing. But also, I would point out, it's like you actually have a long time. You actually have a lot of time, many years. So I think, and I have to remind myself that sometimes literally I find myself, it's like, oh, well, turning 35 soon. It's like, I should probably back off. Like, what? Like, where does that even come from? There's no physical signs at all. It's all a representative of my mindset, because everybody else is kind of nudging me along that path.
No, I've talked to people. You definitely do get that. Like, you'll see your metabolism just slow. Dude, I told you, I was like believing that. I'm like, dude, they're onto something. And as soon as I started paying attention to what I ate, I was like, oh my God, I lost like, you lose like 8-7 pounds pretty quickly. You don't lose it as fast, I guess, but it's still like, it can be done pretty easily.
Dude, I don't even know how true that is. I mean, like, John Weber, one of the guys in our, Matt, you and I do the weight loss stuff with, he lost 60 some pounds in a very short period of time.
Yeah, no, that is true.
He's in his mid to late 50s.
No, that is true. No, you're right. I guess that could be, again, it's so easy to fall into that. Like, well, I guess it has been long. It's like, I also used to like, play sports and like run like 4 miles without even thinking. If I run 3 miles, I'll like tell 5 people. It's like, hey, guess what I did today? I just like do that every practice. And be like, oh, whatever. But yeah, dude, Yeah, man, I do think that's, and you know, the kind of why I'm kind of obsessed with this. It's like, I think that's kind of the first step towards kind of, um, pulling away from, so especially a lot of people feel like, ugh, like, I just live this mediocre, pointless existence, ugh, which, is something I would challenge. Like, well, I'm sure there's like cool stuff maybe you're kind of downplaying, but if people want to kind of move away or just kind of more, I guess, kind of like whatever it's called, like individuate or kind of move towards a thing that's more inherently meaningful to yourself. Yeah, it really is. The most disconcerting thing is like most people you're going to encounter are going to kind of not brainwash you, but it's like try to act as if you are weird. That's like one of the, again, we talked about this last week. That's like the biggest thing of being like, people are like, oh my God, oh, what do you, dude, I can't tell you how many times, dude, doing, especially doing stand up. Oh, what are you doing, stand up? Okay. All right. And it's like, and then as soon as as soon as like the world is like, yeah, you actually do this, they're like, hey man, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's every single fucking time. So like that whole wave of like defensive kind of probing of like, what do you think you're going to, it's just like, dude, I don't want to, it's just, you learn eventually to go, yeah, okay, bud, thank you. Very good. Thank you. Have you ever done anything like this? Okay, thank you. I'll I don't need your input. But it's hard to do. That's like ego strength. How do you build that up to be able to be like, people in my surroundings are being like, and dude, you'd be surprised, just like, dude, working out. If I would go down in high school and like go work out in my basement, people are like, oh, what's up, muscle man? Just little subtle things. Like, who do you think you are? It's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to, do some workworkouts. What the fuck's your guys?
I can very much picture Tom saying that.
Yeah, oh, dude, everyone, you just get crushed. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like that. I feel like that's kind of the first step, that kind of mental discomfort with, pushing back against kind of like whatever the status quo in your kind of area, family, whatever is, and just being able, and not just to do it, but to have like a thing in mind that you want to do that might make you have to take on some things that people might deem like kind of eccentric or weird or like intense or, whatever word they kind of put it. But dude, so I came across, dude, I watched I think I have the Patreon for, I think it's Academy of Ideas, and it's really cool whenever you kind of get the synchronicity of like, I'm working on like habit stuff really big right now. Their Patreon drops and it's just like how to build habits. I'm like, awesome. So, whenever they, enter into like, it just when things work out that way, I always get super kind of giddy about it. But have you read about elastic habits and that kind of thing?
No. What's that?
So it's pretty cool. So, we talked about mini habits, how it's like, just, we've talked about it before, just put just a little, just like 5 push-ups in your day, do that.
Yep.
So the guy who wrote a book called Mini Habits, he found that a lot of times some people, the thing that's pushing them to do a habit is this larger vision or an ideal, like a thing they want to kind of get into. And he's like, to be honest, if you just do 5 push-ups a day, you're doing push-ups to eventually kind of, change your body, whether that's strength, appearance, whatever. Right. So if you're just doing the bare minimum, it's, it's just something to do to get started. But a lot of times with mini habits, people do their mini habits and be like, this is fucking pointless. This isn't doing anything. So the idea is to like, for elastic habits you do the mini habits, but you kind of tier them. So I think you have lateral and vertical options. So like, say you have like with one area, it's just like your physical well-being, you can do 5 push-ups a day, but then you have 3 lateral options. That would be running for like, jogging for 5 minutes, walking for 20 minutes. And they're like your 2 lateral options. And then you can go vertical from there where you could have like 3 different levels, or I think one is the, what is it called? So you can have like your mini habit, your plus target, your elite. So it's like, the elite is if you were to do this thing for, an hour a day, you would be like, you would actually get that big transformative thing, but you can also pepper in and give people the kind of elasticity to like fit their days, life, energy, and all that stuff. I thought it was pretty great. And then you have a calendar
rational
where you're marking off days where it's like, you see if you did the thing, which, if you have the mini habit, that should be every day. If you miss it, whatever. But green's the mini habit, silver is the kind of like amateur level habit in terms of time, and then gold is like the elite level. And you can look back at your camera or your calendar and go, oh, okay, like, out of this last 30 days, I only ever did mini habits, or, so you can kind of get more of a thing like, let's break the streak and throw in like a little longer. So it's like, because I was figuring that out, how do you kind of, you do your mini habits, how do you start to kind of creep that out and towards like longer and longer bouts to kind of give people the effect they're after? But again, there was like, there needs to be, number one, the intrinsic motivation to be like, here's the thing I want, here's why I want that thing. And then the practical implementation is like, it starts to be peppered in, and hopefully the person eventually has to kind of take it on themselves to kind of launch themselves forward. But it's like, how can you give someone as much stuff as possible?
Yeah, no, I think it's spot on. I think, yeah, combining that, like what you said, how do you touch the habits, and then can that be the gateway to then do that habit to its optimal degree? So toggling between just getting it done when you can barely get it done, and then when can you really go deep when going deep? Because I think with meditation, for instance, like I can fall into that trap of just doing 5 minutes because that's what's on the scorecard. But I've got to remind myself, it's like, no, 20 minutes is optimal. So no, I totally agree.
Well, it's funny you say that. Apparently, and I'm using statistics right now, but it's like this is just one study. I know there's just one study, but they said like 90. They said 93% of the benefits gotten from meditation have to do with just doing it for 5 minutes. Like the amount of time you spend do it only give you about 7 extra, percent. What does that mean? I don't know. I know when I meditate for 20 minutes, it's pretty awesome. So, but it's something to be said for when people are like, I don't have the time. It's like, well, you can get a ton of the benefits that's in terms of like growing gray matter, all that stuff for just 5 minutes a day. And this was a thing that always killed me with it. I would just not even, it's pretty cool. Just like, I would not really meditate, but brainstorm, but specifically focusing your awareness and just being like, if thoughts enter, stop. You don't have to go like crazy, but it's like, here comes a thought. Back to my awareness when I'm being, I'm being aware, I'm putting my awareness on breathing. There's also a nice exercise too, where you can start to work on like honing it, like zooming in your awareness and zooming it out, where you put on a song and you'll just like, you listen to the song for like 30 seconds and have a plan. Like, I know what instruments are in the song. So after 30 seconds, I'm going to just focus on drums. And after 30 seconds, I'm just going to focus on guitar. After 30 seconds, I'm going back to the whole thing. After 30 seconds, now I'm on the piano, however many instruments there are. And you just kind of go in and out. It's pretty fun. You get to listen to your own song and kind of hone in, like being able to put your awareness and stuff and kind of try to, keep a better control of it, having to just wander off.
Hold on. Where did you get that exercise from?
That was a Liberated Mind. That was from, I'm full of psych null stuff, dude. I banged out all my stuff last week and I'm going to record all of them this week. So I'm full of tidbits, dude, in terms of meditation.
It, man.
Thank you, bro.
Dude, I love it, man. So how'd your what did you keep the full score for your scorecard this past week? I'm curious what
this week this week for the scorecard or last week I would say I got thrown off because I didn't fix my Sunday thing. So like that little bug on there, I was like, but I did keep a loose record and I had I got like a B. I had pretty much I got everything except for a couple of days I didn't get enough vegetables and I didn't exercise. I did exercise. No, I didn't exercise Saturday, so I did Sunday, so it didn't count for Saturday. So I've been pretty much I've been hitting the water, the journal, the water, the quiet. I hit all of them pretty much every day, almost like automatically at this point, which is pretty sweet.
Awesome.
I should look at it right now. How'd you do?
My total score was 48. Sleep is still complete garbage. I only hit one of the 6 nights because now we're only doing Monday through Saturday. So I did that. And let's see, journaling I did terrible at. I only did hit one. But total, I got an A. No, final grade was a B. I got a 48. No, this is wrong. I think, guys, just so you know, I messed up this scorecard. I did not factor in the total, so I got to fix that just for you guys. So I got a 48, which should have been an A, if not an A plus. Nice. So yeah, man. But the cool thing I saw Ray, he commented in the comments that I think he said his wife printed the score, so she's doing the scorecard too. That's awesome. I think that's a great idea. Yeah,
no, that's kind of nice. That is kind of nice. But yeah, man, how is the lack of sleep? How are you experiencing this in your day-to-day reality?
I'm in a video game, bro. I mean, that's what it feels like. Yeah, I feel like I'm in Mario's world.
So what's your plan? What's your plan to get?
I would get made fun of how I say Mario versus Mario, depending on
Mario. If you're cool from the East Coast, say Mario, like a jerk. Mario. How's the what's your plan to get the sleep back on track, dude? I can see it. You're tired in the eyes.
Dude.
You look winded.
Yeah. Oh, well, so I think what sleep does, if you sleep deprivation, I think it knocks your cardio off by minimum 30%. If you're on like a 6 hours. Yeah. So, and then fat accumulation can bump it up by another 30 to 50%, just dumb stuff. So I need to get it back on track. And I tried doing what you were saying, one of the things of just like talking to all stakeholders involved and saying like, really need support in this area. Please let me go to bed, that sort of thing. We need to end meetings early, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I need to take more ownership of it and actually get it done. So that will start. I've been trying to repeat this starting process, but yes, I'm going to continuously get back on the bandwagon until I actually make it happen.
Hell yeah.
But it's been, I've never gotten this little of sleep.
Yeah, dude. Can you get sick?
Oh yeah, exactly. And so actually that's a good point. What I have to do is reframe it, because I'm supposed to go back home for Thanksgiving in a couple weeks. So the decisions I make now are going to impact my immune system's ability to be right. So
true.
And for my family. So that's you kind of made me just think of it in that way. That it will be done.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's what I like to hear, dude. I like to hear the absolutes, dude. Yeah. I mean, you should just get married. Get married to her immediately. You guys will be in at 10 p.m. Just audiobook, silent nod, just see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of the guys said he wants to be let in on the show. I think Ray was a little hurt. You didn't let him in on Friday, man.
Let's get Ray in here, dude. I was waiting until he sold some goddamn art, dude. He's over here bullshitting around. Let me get Ray up in here. I was like, I'm not letting him in until he sells some goddamn canvases, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we need Ray in here. Yeah, and if anyone has any wins, any trials, tribulations, dude, obviously toss them in there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, nice. Also, I see someone who has, I believe it was it Cabra who has the Stoner Babe? Someone has some heady necklaces for the Stoner Babe. I'm telling you, dude. I'll never forget it. The time I went to, and this is just a random aside, but the time I went to this guy's house who just would sit around. This was like way, way long ago. But this is like when like dabs, if you know what like cannabis concentrates are, like first were coming out. And all this guy did was sit there. He would just smoke these things and take a nap. Just he took like 4 naps a day, smoke dabs, go to sleep. And I remember I was like, I'm working like 2 jobs. I'm doing all this different stuff. And, I was married at the time, failed marriage, first marriage. But I remember like going on a vacation and like, just my ex-wife being like, whatever. She would, not to smite her, but it was just kind of like, whatever, business as usual. This dude brought his hippie girlfriend who he just literally just like Brad Pitt from True Romance, just slept and smoked weed, just ridiculous amounts of weed all the time. And he gave her this fucking little rock, dude. And this lady's eyes were like, oh my God. And I was like, motherfucker, son of a bitch. So if you got a Stoner Babe, dude, get her some rocks. She'll get pumped.
Well, Troy just said he had a major win with his girlfriend. He sent flowers over to Tokyo.
Really?
Yeah, look at that, man. I love that. Delivered it. What an animal.
Hell yeah. Where'd you get him delivered from? I'm curious. Should have sent him from like New Jersey. Got there withered. Yo, where's the hell's Ray? I have him accepted and connecting. All right. I don't know where the hell Ray is. What the hell?
Ray, you were up.
Troy, that is nice work. Yeah, Ray, you should be popping up, man. I don't know what to tell you. Probably farting around.
Yeah,
let me try it.
Playing with us.
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to. All right, we'll just wait for him. So what dude, this is what I want to I wanted to actually check in with ASB, man.
Hell yeah.
ASB, yeah, I'm curious for ASB's comeback. He got honey spanked last week by the boss, dude. And honestly, too, I think I haven't gotten bad feedback from a boss. I remember it fucking sucks pretty badly.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he said he's addicted to this new phone game. Got it, worked extra this weekend. All right. Yeah, I think the turnaround ASB, I think the turnaround is going to be pretty glorious. I think you're going to come back pretty strong. Especially, like I said, you seem to be a person of many varied interests. And when you're motivated enough to pour that, all that attention into one thing, I think people are typically like, holy shit, dude, that's pretty crazy. So I'd be curious to see how you did that. That's what's up.
Ray saying he's doing a new connection.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see if we can want to
remove. Yeah, I need I'll get ASB on after. Let me see if I can get Ray more time. He's logging off. ASB, get up here. I don't know what's going on with Ray's internet. Is there anything else kicking around? Oh, here we go. Damn, that was quick.
Hey,
God damn, you are on the ball this week, ASB.
How you doing?
back in action.
Right on screen. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yeah, like I was discussing, and I also mentioned I had a really difficult, emotionally vulnerable conversation with my parents last night. Basically, like my mom asked me to like text her, like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have dinner, so just text me," and so I did. Didn't hear back from her for like an hour and a half, and I got like really fucking pissed off, really upset at that. And like it's just like we had a really long discussion, and I don't know, I was like sour about it, even though it wasn't a big deal. I knew it. I couldn't really like just bring myself out of that. So I had to talk it through, and it sucked, but like it turned out to be really great and emotionally vulnerable. And we covered a lot of stuff about how like basically your dad like wasn't like didn't live up to my dad didn't live up to my expectations, because like he was just doing a better job than his dad did. He's working, doing the best that he could, and it was only through therapy where I started talking about like forgiving myself for like all the horrible shit I did to ex-girlfriends when I was like 20. Thinking like, hey, I did the best I could back then. I didn't learn the stuff that I had today. So, and then like through that, I realized like I have to forgive my own parents too. They were doing the best they could. It was their first time parenting. Anyway, when it comes to the job stuff, yeah, like I sucked. I fucked up like last week, and like through the discussion with my parents and just like journaling in this group, like I realized like all the fun shit I do, the gymnastics and like all the dance, whatever, that shit's just for fun. Like, and it's fine. And I always do rationalize like not putting in extra effort at work, like outside of work hours, like go the extra route, because I would always say like, why? Like I'm really good with my money. I don't need to earn more than $50,000 a year. Like what kind of happiness is it going to do? And then now I realize like I need more balance in my life, because now that I'm 30, my priorities are kind of more like yours, Wes, where I like have this idea of like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? It's like, I don't know if I'm going to get married or ever have kids, but this idea of the word husband, like a husband without a wife or a father without a son, it's like, because these words encompass like values that I want, like responsibility, self, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yep. And so I realized like, dude, it's not about the money. It's about like getting to a level where you feel proud of what you've accomplished in your career and so on and so forth. So I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I've had a fun time like fucking around dancing and like doing all this other shit and getting super good at athletic stuff, but I need more balance. And right now it's like what I'm insecure about and what gives me like, anxiety is the fact that I've getting fired at like every single job I've had. And I don't want that to happen.
Dude, well, hell yeah. I mean, like just the fact that you're recognizing it and being willing to say it out loud. I mean, as cliche as it sounds, like the first step is admitting it, sort of a deal. It's spot on. It's spot on. Especially as guys, we've got those egos that just automatically, because we get the testosterone going, it's like, nope, everybody else is wrong, I'm right. And I for sure have that. 100% have that. Like it's so hard to get feedback through this fucking brain, especially when you're analytical. ASB, you are analytical, because I think what you'll find is like a lot of people don't think through things as much as maybe you do. So then, but you'll throw the baby out with the bathwater and just qualify a whole bunch of critical feedback that would have been important. So I give you credit, man, for actually coming present to that.
I gotta go. I'm actually gonna do a mock interview with my boss. I'm being proactive about it right now. So,
hell yeah,
all right, guys. I'll see you
later. So ASB brought up a really good point. When I did that landmark course, which for me was, I think I've told you guys, it was 5% profound or 10% profound, 90% just like strange to me. But one of the exercises they did there was actually really profound. We had an audience, right? Probably like 150 people in the audience, and they picked out two very young individuals that were like 19 years old, and they tried to pick out the ones that just look like they don't have their stuff together, So, and then they put them up there and they do this like little ceremony thing. And the instructor says like, I now pronounce you husband and wife. But before he does that, he asks them questions like, oh, like, what did you do last weekend? And the girl would say like, oh, I got this new tattoo on my neck, like something like that. Right. So,
yeah.
And then he goes to the guy and it's like, oh, what'd you do last weekend? It's like, oh, I woke up in some house that I didn't even know who it was, like that sort of thing. So they go through all of this line of inquiry that shows that these are just complete newbies in terms of life and making very poor decisions. And then they get married and they say now they have children, right? And you're the children. So it makes you present. It's like, oh, that's what my parents were. Because we have this impression that your parents are like these superheroes. It's like, no. They are these incredibly flawed individuals that are just trying to do the best they can. So all this resentment that you're holding to them, it's like you're looking at them right now. They're 19-year-old kids. They have no idea what's going on. And you expect them to be these superheroes. And then you say, and then eventually that breaks. But just going through that exercise, as simple as that really opened my eyes. It's like, oh, like I can drop some resentment towards my father because I thought he just left because he didn't like me, that sort of thing. It's like, no, it's probably because didn't have his stuff together. Right?
Yeah.
So ASB brought up that's a really good, topic that he brought up.
Well, I like that exercise too of just identify, like interact with a 19-year-old, dude. Just for the most part, and especially, dude, I had 19-year-old brain until I was about like 28, maybe. Yeah, I would say about 27. Then I had like 24-year-old brain, but it's like, dude, I don't consider myself as like a fully conscious being when I was 19 years old. Like I wasn't, dude, like at all. What up, Ray?
Ray is back.
There he is, dude.
Hero.
Dude, what's going on?
We got a good view going. Okay.
What you got going on right now?
Dude, I'm selling like Costco, man.
Are you really?
Yeah, man.
Walk me through the sale. Walk me through the win, dude. I want to know what
okay, so I know who buys paintings in this town, right?
Okay.
And so I called them up. I told them I told them I got this new space. I got this new artist who is the studio assistant for a major artist, right? So in their mind, they're like, okay, maybe I'm getting a major artist for a minor price, right? Tell them to meet me at the gallery. Boom. The artist just happens to be here at the same time. Oh, the artist will walk through and tell them about the work, tell them about the mythology of the piece, what these symbols mean. They fall in love. Show them the staggeringly high prices, Then the next day I text them, hey, no, even better. The next day the client texted me. And if you recall, I was on a Rhomas call with you all, and they were in the background. That same couple texted me the next day, just thinking about this painting, just thinking. And I was like, it's $6,000. And I started explaining, oh, this is what the painting means. These are symbols. She's like, yeah, the artist told us. I'm really into it. The painting's $6,000, but I could probably give it to you for $5,000. And as I was texting, talk it over with your husband, she was like, deal. That's the price my husband and I agreed to.
Damn, dude.
And I was like, I had all these other kind of like, please, so in sales, right, Matt, or ASB can speak to this, or Wes, it's like, when you say the price, you have to zip it.
Yep.
And not talk yourself out of the sale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So that happened. A friend of mine reserved a piece. Another friend came in, and it was the same deal. It was like, I should ask my husband if I should get this. I said, tell him it's $2,000. She's like, okay. I said, tell him you can get it for $1,600. And she said, he'll probably just say yes. And so I said, yes. And she was like, yes. Nice. Closed it. My mom came in. She's like, I want one of these. She got one. Someone else came in. They didn't like it, but there was a gallery down the street. I'm like, let's go check out this other gallery. I'm getting a 10% commission off that. Even though it's, dude, yeah. And guys, like, you get partial credit on this.
Cool.
Like
I'll take it.
The push-ups, like Matt, your brag about doing 5,000 push-ups in a day or whatever it was, like that's got me and Troy doing 100 a day, and
that's awesome.
And ASB's like, are you wearing your ball clamp or whatever while you're doing it? But just 100 a day is like, it sets me up to it just, like all these little scorecard things, they just, like, on their own, they're not much, but they set up an attitude of accountability.
Yep.
and
progress,
and like progress, putting myself first. And so so pretty good week. I don't know.
That's awesome, man.
Wins in there, right, boys?
Hell yeah, that's mega wins. You might have had the winningest week of everybody, dude. The thing that helps too with all the structure and scorecards is like, so you think about, the time between having to like have this conversation with a person, which is kind of charged, like you're selling stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's either you're like launching into that conversation from like, 3 days of like negative rumination and self-judgment, or you're launching into it after 3 days of just like snagging small W's every single day. And then when you go into that, it's like, oh, here we go. This is just another one, this is another one. But it's like, that rules, man. That's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Ray, are you studying any any sales books or taking any sales courses or anything like that?
I am not, man. I am just like, I'm a natural.
Awesome.
Like Matt's seen the way I talk on the Psych Now and stuff.
I've seen the way,
I'm a bandito, man. I'm a bandito. I have a friend who works in sales who gave me a couple of like when I first started at an art gallery a couple of years ago, at like a corporate job where we had like sales targets and like and wore a suit to this art gallery. Like he sat me down and like he shared some of the wisdom of his sales experience. Like for example, saying this is the price, this is the best price, and just zip it, you know, and then or don't be emotionally invested in the outcome. That was another one that like applies way beyond sales, right? It's like it doesn't mean the painting sucks. It doesn't mean I suck. That person could be having a bad day. That person could be getting divorced. That person could have just spent a lot of money on whatever. And so, another thing you talked about was the volume play that you talked about, Wes. It's like that. The more outreach you do, the more sales you're going to make, and it's
that's what I was curious about. What's your outreach going to look like? So say like a lot of times with sales or something like that, even comedy shows, it's like you kind of exhaust a personal network. So it's like how you going to expand that out to like the GP general.
Well, Matt, it wouldn't take long for you to exhaust your personal network, bud. But mine is as deep as the ocean, buddy.
Really?
Okay?
That's good. No, that's good.
Fuck yeah.
It wouldn't either. I'd be out.
And so, well, actually, no. To be honest, what I'm doing is I'm going for the low-hanging fruit first. I'm going for the people who I know love collecting art and who have deep pockets. But to Wes's point, like what I really have to commit to you lads is to just do a super broad, like spend a day creating an email with a couple of pictures and a general description, and just send that out to hundreds of people. Like it's a lot more fun. The problem with my problem is I love to do the fun stuff, right? It's like, so my wife is asking me, what's the next show you're gonna have? Or the guy who my partner, he's like, what should we do next? And I'm like, no. I have to send out emails, I don't. And when we were installing the art, he's a real estate developer who gives me the space for free. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to get out of the office and come and help you unload the van. I was like, no. I need you to keep that blue suit on, and like, we can't just like do the fun stuff every day.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, man.
Dude, and that's the issue, man. Dude, I could talk to you for hours about this. Like, starving artists are a real thing. But the only reason that it's only because they want to stay in the art zone, the fun thing, the creative thing. And that's totally fine. Yeah. The problem is it doesn't yield any income. So if you can make sales part of your art, like the best advice I've ever been given in business, super, super simple. One of my mentors said, look, do not make this more complicated than it needs to be. He said, making money, not making money. And almost on a daily basis, I think of that. Making money, not making money, right? And for those of you who are listening, it's like phone. I'm pretending like the phone up to my ear. That's when you're making money. You're not making money when the phone's down. So man, that's the name of the game, dude. And yes, sometimes it's not fun, but you know where you can get like super crazy awesome results is if you can actually start to get attracted to that work process. Then it just gets stupid. Yeah. It just gets stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that applies to everything else. It's like, if you're after kind of like more like, holistic progress, it's the same thing. It's like, are you checking off the boxes every day or not? If you're not, you won't be. And if you are, you will be. So it's like, again, it's just doing those things that kind of might seem unappealing, but like you said, Wes, if you start to enjoy that, it's just a wrap, man. It's like,
Yeah. And it's like, self-care isn't like Matt, people think we have this housewife existence where it's all like terry cloth bathrobes and cucumbers over our eyes. But no, self-care is like, self-care is also just putting in, like, it can be uncomfortable, right? It's like putting in the work, challenging yourself to make yourself better.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, that's been my, it's funny because a huge part of my self-care is actually doing this stuff, and getting all of these things done and having the structure. Like, dude, again, being able to have like a structured day that I'm going off of versus just like, like, what am I doing today? Or like, what I'd like to do, play a phone game in my bed for 30 minutes before I wake up. And it fucks me up, man. And like ASB was saying, like, even if, don't necessarily want kids or anything. Like you might want just a more solid existence in general, just so you're not just like, just another person just floating around addicted to a bunch of things who's just like, damn, why does everything suck so bad? And it's like, because you have literally no conscious control over your day at all. Even like the little bits that you have, and it's going to keep getting taken from you. Someone's going to be, hey, I need you to work Saturday. I need you to work Sunday. Yeah. Well, can you pay me extra? No. You're just like, fuck, I literally have no say in this.
Right. Well, dude, Ray, that's awesome that you're doing that, man. If you don't mind me asking, are you time blocking anything for your sales outreach? Like, do you do it an hour a day? Do you do it 2 hours a day? Do you do it at the same time? Like, what's that look like for you?
No, it's a more of a Jackson Pollock kind of approach,
I don't know what the fuck that means, brother, but we're gonna go with it.
Oh no, okay. So it's more of a finger painting approach. It's like there's no schedule. It's just all over the place. It's like when the mood strikes me. But I would love to hear your recommendation on, or talk about time blocking for a few minutes or a few seconds. What do you mean by that?
Same deal. I mean, Matt and I kind of hit on it, repeatedly. Matt does an outstanding job at this, but it applies very much to sales. Time block, typically the time block would be an hour to 2 hours long, and it's pure outreach. The initial, so like for me, let's say it's 2 hour time block, and 80% of that time block is phone calls, right? Like there is no comparison. I mean, the only thing that's better than
there's no substitute.
Yeah. The only thing that's better is in person, but the problem is you then miss out on the volume. So I'm convinced that phone is like the best way. Like get on, boom, 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 boom. You can crank out 50 phone calls by the time you can drive to 30 minutes out to lunch with somebody. So it's even more powerful today than it was 10 years ago. So 2 hour time block, 80% of that time phone calls. The remaining 20% is stuff you're talking about, like sending out emails, those little fun things. But what I'm working on now is top of the funnel sales, being able to go, because I love teaching. Like I'm just obsessed with teaching. So creating videos and everything to teach people, and then have those videos have a call to action to then that be the cohort of people that I'm calling on. Because if you look at the sales cycle, it's kind of like a bell curve. And, they say at any given time, it's like only 3% of that bell curve is ready to buy now. So can you set up an infrastructure that funnels that 3% to you constantly? So those are the ones that you're talking on the phone with. And that changes the roles dramatically. I'm not there yet. Like I don't have that set up, but I can tell you some mentors who do have that set up. It's crazy. Like they spend the majority of their day in revenue producing activities with buyers who are ready to buy now. Like one of the guys makes $13 million a year. I mean, but it takes years to build that infrastructure. So, and it seems like you're starting to build it, right? Just by that email and sending out pictures and paintings. But I'm
okay, guys, it's me. I'll break my anonymity. I'm that guy.
Oh yeah.
No, I think that's big, man. Of just I'm the same. True, nice digs. I'm the same way. I prided myself for a long time being like, I kind of just do stuff when I do it. So I've done that approach, and then I've kind of taken now in the last however long we were doing Rhomas for, I guess several months. I've been taking a more structured approach, and it's like hands down, dude. It's I could say 1,000%. I get a bazillion times more done. The quality of the stuff I do, I think, is better. And again, it is like I went from like barely writing one book to now working on like 3 different projects simultaneously. And it's like, I might not get, the other one might not happen. Well, the thing I was doing, the book, it was just getting kind of pushed off and kicked down the road. And now it's like, I'm doing a little bit, but it's like, dude, there's no way I would be this productive with a shrunken time window being like, I just kind of do it. Cause I don't feel like I would never feel like cold calling strangers. It's something I wouldn't like to do. So I need to kind of like a little buzzer on off. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. So that, I would, if you set up even like half-hour time blocks, you'll be surprised how much shit you'll get done.
Yep. And time blocks, man, that I'm convinced that's like one of the biggest secrets out there. And the options being binary. So you set up the time block, and it's either I'm going to do the thing that I time block this for, or I'm going to be bored, right? You can't have another outlet. Because that defeats the purpose of the time block, and I'll be out, like there have been many times where I've just been bored, but because I made it very painful, it's like, well, I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to do anything else except for that thing, and eventually the scale tips in the direction of like it's more painful just to be bored. So then you say, okay, well, I might as well do it. Yeah. So it's awesome, man.
Or for me, the scale is anxiety. For me, the scale is anxiety. Like, there was somebody I was connected with the client on Wednesday, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna contact them tonight or right away, and then tonight turned into tomorrow, and the next day,
Ooh.
and the next day, and like my
Yeah.
wife on Saturday said, she said either wait, you haven't contacted them yet, or she said it's too late to contact them. I can't remember what she said, but like that, it's never too late. So I just sent out that email, and I don't know if I made a sale, but at least I just closed that anxiety. Like leaf blower, you know?
You close the loop.
Yep.
Close the loop. That's it.
Yeah. And dude, I would say, I mean, 'cause this happens all the time in sales, because sales is 95% it's follow-up. It's not just like, oh, like, you know, it's not like the movies where you put out an offer and they say, yep, right away. Right. It's a long process. But I have found that when you can go back to the client or the prospect with your tail between your legs and just be vulnerable, saying, look, I just messed up. I meant to contact you 3 months ago. And then I got a little anxiety about it. And I was like, oh, but it's like, hey, I'm just here. Like, I'm here if you want my service, if you want my teaching. So those, I think there's even more value in those, like when you messed up. And then the person knows you as a truthful guy. It's like, oh, okay, he's a human.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, right? You know, from all this, is there, because again, you're coming off of a hot win. That's what's up. You should definitely celebrate it. But
several hot wins.
True. A cluster of hot
like
wins.
A streak. We call it a streak.
I'd be curious what that would look like with just a tad of structure and a tad of just like, you know, concentrated, boring effort in terms of like, you know, making a couple calls or just getting over that hump. Because I do think these things all feed off of each other. Of like, you know, once you get kind of comfortable with you know, the weird phone calls, it's like meeting in person is even easier now. You're like, oh man, I love this one. This other one's kind of a pain in the ass. That kind of can help me sometimes do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, man, that's awesome, dude. And congratulations, because, you know, you're selling multiple $1,000 products. That's
that don't do anything. That don't do anything. They don't keep you warm. They don't get you to work. Like,
you could sell them.
It's like
they could sell them to somebody or trade them in.
Dude,
it's
I'll give you
it's the best.
Like hard thing.
It's the best job. I mean, there's emails, there's phone calls, and I have to value my time correctly. Like you said, like I love nothing more than just walking through a show and talking to people about art, like teaching them, but also listening. Like even a kid can tell me, oh, this reminds me of a sunset or something. And I won't have seen that before. Right. But I have to balance that with the emails and cold calls and the parts of the job that allow me to keep going.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
that helps too, to have that motive, like that why, like, you know, why am I sending these emails? Not to like more. It's like, you know, you just want to do more of those things, maybe, you know, get more artists. And you even think about really every time you're doing it, you're helping some dude who just loves to paint be able to sell his art. You know, it's like that's just really nice.
Yes.
And giving it to somebody who wants to receive it. Like when you can get that
and so
space,
that was a challenge.
Oh boy.
That was a challenge for me because when I got a job at this corporate gallery, I was like, but my friend, I was like, but what if I don't like the art? And they're like, doesn't matter. Like what you think. This person might be buying a tacky fucking like neon dollar sign, but like they're starting a journey as a lifelong collector of art. They're starting a journey with this tacky piece of garbage. And an artist gets paid for their craft from the sale. So don't worry about ruining the world. Just fucking, or like get off your high horse, sell it.
Hell yeah.
Make those people happy, pay your bills, and build a relationship. Build a relationship, and eventually in 5 years, maybe they'll buy what you think is good.
Hell yeah.
Well, Ray, I think you're hitting on something that's super important and can be used outside of sales, just in everyday life. It's be passionate about what you do and what you like, and just share that enthusiasm with other people. And make it into a higher level thing. Like, you know, it's not a sale. It's not just, oh, I'm selling this to make a few bucks. It's like, no, like this is what I do because I love doing it. And I can tell you many examples where I've walked into a situation recently. Was like a Tesla dealership, and it's like this person who was talking about the Tesla just loved it, and it just radiated from this person. And you're like, oh man, like I so much want to learn from that person, not just some random person that's just doing it because they have to. So it's just a transfer of emotion.
And I think ASB said that like sales is just a transfer of emotion. He said that in one of our other calls, but and I think that definitely works in my favor. like after I got fired from and don't worry, ASB, I've got fired from way more jobs than you. Not as many as Matt has been fired from, but I've been fired from more than ASB. But so many, well, not so many. I can think of several people who, when they found out I wasn't working there anymore, they said, "Oh, you're the only reason I would have bought anything from there, or you're the only reason I came in there." And the boner I got from that comment is way bigger than any paycheck or commission. You know,
Big,
like
no, for real. Absolutely. That's
True
something too that helps.
True that.
So,
Like,
yeah, if you can't find the inherent value in what you're doing, just, for yourself, just think about what you potentially are doing for somebody else. Because a lot of times people can get pumped up on that.
Dude,
But Ray,
yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, and this is not to like pound chest by any means, but I can tell you I got the same feeling the first time I received a $300 check for what I do versus I think the highest check I've ever gotten in a day is like 21,000. I can tell you that it was the same feeling because what I'm attracted to is the underlying thing. It's the teaching of the thing. It doesn't matter to me. Like the money will follow. As cliche as that sounds, that's just the truth. It just is. When you're passionate about what you do and you're committed to the craft over time, you can't lose. It's not possible to lose.
True. And it's also thinking about
if I can riff back to something Matt was saying a couple of weeks ago, it's like, I remember when I was in law school, because I'm Canadian, I speak French, I was acting as a translator for immigration and asylum cases. And there was this refugee trying to get to the States from Rwanda. I don't know if you all remember that movie, Hotel Rwanda, about all these people who like hid in this famous hotel. So she was one of the 1,000 people that was saved because she was in the hotel. And I was paid $1 a day to be the translator for her asylum case. And when I was on the phone, like translating from her French to the lawyers, or when I was in court in Chicago, translating for her, $1 a day I was getting paid. And I called my wife right away. Like, power is the only word I could use to express. I've never felt more powerful. And I was making $1 a day, and it was just like helping someone and doing good. Again, the biggest boner yet. The biggest boner of them all.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is kind of how we're wired. We are like, there was I actually put it up. I haven't been on Instagram that much, right? I usually go on there and like I'll talk to people, but there was a quote from an audiobook. It was like what was it? Like an Eskimo or some guy was like up there, like he was a anthropologist and he was studying Eskimos, and he was like, trying to like live the life up there and kind of fit in, and he went to hunt and he just totally unsuccessful. And one of the guys, the Inuits, like caught and captured, I don't know what it was, like sea lions or something. And the Eskimo came by and gave him, here's like 100 pounds of meat, like here you go. And the guy who was studying them was like, dude, thank you so much. And he was like, don't be weird, don't say thank you, like don't. He's like, yeah, I'm giving this because we're human beings, and it's like this is what human beings do. And when you thank me for it, you make it seem as if I might not have done that under other conditions. I think the thing was gifts make slaves and whips make dogs. That was like a saying, like gifts make slaves and whips make dogs. So he's like, this is just what we do. This is the underlying true motivation. And the book's pretty cool. It goes into how people perceive people perceive things as like, oh, this is like the market arose naturally out of the mind, where it's like, which is, we do evaluate things and we're like, this is better than that thing. I want that thing. He's like, that's totally not. He's like, that is the case. But there's also another part of us that like sometimes can transcend that, where we're like, I also kind of want the feeling of helping this person. Like, how do you kind of blend those things together for yourself in a way that kind of works out? So,
right. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think especially when it comes to your craft, giving the gift of your craft and the results of your craft to another human is just something cool because it's your effort. It's for me, it's the number one thing that I currently do.
I think of so like Wes, you're in finance. I'm in art. You're in finance. He's in psych. And like, what I love about someone who makes lots of money, like me, like doesn't have enough time to like learn the market, right? So we come to Wes and we're like, Wes, I need you spend all your day researching the market. I need you to distill that down in this 5-minute conversation. Same with Matt. Like, what I like about the Psych Now is like Matt does all these years of studying psychology, and because I don't have time to do that because I'm trying to sell art, I just get the whatever you just said, Wes. I get like transfer the wisdom or like the craft, right?
Yep.
I get like the benefits of the 40-hour week that he does
Exactly.
in our 5-minute conversation.
Yep.
100%. Yeah. You're spot on, brother. Well, dude, you are crushing it, man. Thank you for being a leader to everybody.
Guys, we are. Like, honestly, this is like, and I did the math. Like, I give Matt and Shane $10 a month on Patreon, which means it's 30 cents a day. 30 cents a day I get. I mean, dude, like I pay Dr. Shapiro like $140 an hour, and I'm getting this for 30 cents a day.
It's pretty crazy, man. No, absolutely. I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Awesome, brother.
You guys are business,
man. We appreciate it, bro.
Later, brother.
Later, dude.
Let's do let's hit the whatchamacallits.
Let's do it.
Let's hit the goals. Hit me with them, man. Hit me with them.
Okay, so A on my scorecard. And I want to try if I really want to try this. I'm going to do this week some lessons that I've been just like not putting out there because I'm getting in my head too much. It's like, oh, like I want to share this with the Rhomas team. I want to share this, and this. But I'm thinking because I've got all these like crazy camera set up and so on. But it's like I just want to do it whiteboard style. You know, like I'm reading this book and it's like, oh, these guys would benefit from. So I need to get out of my own way and just start putting it out there. And then Matt, maybe you and I can discuss on like what's the best possible way of doing that, et cetera. So I want to get that done and get my finance video done. Again, that's a longer term project. And then make progress on, we're doing a spotlight video here for the office. Nice. So there's a lot of projects there as well. And then sleep for sure. Get back on track there, and then hit the gym like a crazy man for sure as well in prep for the holidays, man, especially for Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Next week will be pretty glorious, dude. ASB will have his triumphant return within the good graces of the work system. You'll be a well slept and well rested person.
Yes.
So I'm pretty. I think all those things I'll be pretty pumped for that. That's been pumping me up too, man. Just the week to week of like, dude, again, this is kind of ties into what I'm doing. But last week, dude, I was like, I need to get these fucking slides done for the Psych and all things. I want to have this site out. Like, I just want to have it out. I want to have it out, timed appropriately before the holidays. But yeah, the fact that I got all those done and now it's like, oh, now I got to do the video recording stuff, dude, pumped me up so much that it's like, holy shit. Like there's once you start seeing, you do the habits, and then you start seeing the things kind of change around you eventually, which, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of slog of like, oh. But dude, once you get through that, it's like, oh, I'm so happy I spent last week doing that. Now it's like it just kind of pumps you up more. So this week, I'm gonna get all 6 modules, like the voice part, recorded. I broke my book down. One of the book I'm doing into like scenes now, where I've kind of like chunked it out in that way. So I'm gonna rewrite 2 of the scenes, really, if that makes sense, rather than like an arbitrary 300. I usually would try to do like 3,500 words a week, but I'm gonna do like 2 of those scenes completed, 4 workouts. I'm constructing my wall of heroes. I have to, I'm going to take a little cork board and then take pictures of like people whose like books I really like, people I admire, bam, pop them up there. So I have them to look at. Also I said 4 workouts. I'm excited for that. And also 3 early days. Also, I'm going to shit myself, dude. I have to shit so bad from drinking all this water. So I am so sorry, but I'm going to hit this thing.
That is a hell of a way to end the show.
I want to shit my pants. Dude, while Ray was talking, I was going to fucking shit myself. It's not negotiable. Dude, you guys are the best. Wes, you're the best. I'll talk to you. Love you guys. See you.
Love you guys.